Hey guys, what's up? I have a super cool video for you. It is a kid's haircut where a mom wanted shorter hair because the boy doesn't maintenance it, and the boy wanted a little bit of a longer look, so we kind of like made something to compromise for both of them. And I also share a couple stories along the way, so I hope you enjoy. Usually if I'm using the clippers on top of the head, I always do that first. So here I'm taking a number 3 and I'm leaving a little bit in the front for the bang part, and I'll show you how I connect them later. He didn't want to go as short as skin, so a good alternative for short hair on the side would be a number 1/2, and this is a number 1/2, which leaves like a little bit of stubble. I'm doing like a mid fade right now, so I'm starting it like right below the temple. After I create my guideline, I always look at the front view to make sure that both sides are even. Now I'm beginning my fading process. Here I have a number 1 attached, so I'm just going like an inch up from that initial hard line. Then I'm tackling the next line up higher towards the curve of the head with the number 2. After that, I close the lever on my clipper, which makes it a 1.5, and I tackle that line in between the 1 and the 2. And for anyone wondering, the rose gold skin on my clipper is from Amazon. It was like $20. So now I'm going to get rid of the initial hard line with the number 1/2 guard. And look how buttery that blend was. I pretty much do the same process 3 different times. I divide the head into 3, so I just did the right side, then I do the back, then I do the left side. When I do the back, it's a little bit different because that's where everybody has a cowlick. So the cowlick is a swirl that redirects the hair and makes it kind of rebellious. So the only thing that I have to do is cut against the grain. Cutting against the grain is just when the hair, let's say, grows to the right. If you were going to cut against the grain, you would cut from right to left. So you're cutting opposite of how the hair grows. But beware, because some people not only have them in the back of their head, they also have some in the front where the lineup goes. Other people have them on the side and many different places. But don't freak out. Don't be scared, because most likely if you're watching this, you want to get better at cutting hair. And I know that cowlicks, when I first started, were something very scary because they're unpredictable and they're kind of hard to manage. But I promise you, the more practice you have and the different kind of head shapes and hair textures you see, you will be able to tackle any cowlick that comes your way. Also, if you have found any kind of value in this video so far, please give me a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe. It'll really help me out, guys. And if you are just starting out cutting hair, just know that we've all been through that part in our journey when we're cutting somebody's hair and we freeze because we don't know how to get rid of this line, and the customer is starting to catch on and they feel uncomfortable and you feel uncomfortable and you just want to run out of there. But you can't, because you have to sit there and you have to learn, and it's a process, and sometimes the client is going to be upset and sometimes they're cool with it and they understand that we're all learning. But just hang in there, and I promise you that if you keep trying, you'll be good. I am now starting the mid skin taper, and as you can tell, once I get closer to the inner part of the ear, I get very careful because the little skin that attaches your ear is very sensitive, and if I nick people, it's usually right there. So you got to be really careful because the trimmer's teeth are very sharp and you don't want to nick people and traumatize them for life. And just to clarify, any clipper, trimmer, or even the shaver, you have to be careful around that part of the ear because it's just so tender that it just loves to tear. A taper is pretty much a small compressed fade where the sideburn is. So here you can see that I'm doing like a skin fade, and then I do the 0. From the 0 is the number half, from the half is the 1, from the 1 is the 1.5. And then after I've completed all those steps, I go back with my shaver and I'm just kind of gently tapping to erase the hard lines that were created with the shaver. So you can't get rid of the shaver line with anything else but the same shaver. So here I'm repeating the steps. I'm doing the trimmer, then the shaver. I remember I used to literally have nightmares of trying to erase these lines that were made with the shaver or the razor, because they're so hard to get rid of at first when you first start. And I remember when I used to work at the old shop, when I first started, I was like 17 years old. I feel like it was even harder to mess up because every time somebody starts something new, they're not going to be good at it. And neither was I. But the thing is that I feel like the clientele didn't help because they were very like misogynistic, and there was a lot of men that would come in and wouldn't even give me a chance, or they would even laugh like, what the heck, you're my barber? No, I'll just wait for one of the guys. And it was hard to get my practice in. Like, how am I supposed to get better if people don't give me a chance? So it was hard for me to mess up, and I was really hard on myself. So I feel like I tried extra, and I would do all the extra little things to get more clientele and more tips. So I would ask the guys like, oh, would you like me to trim your mustache? Would you like me to trim your eyebrows? Oh, I can trim your ear hairs or your nose hairs. And I also noticed that starting a conversation with the client will put them at ease and in turn make you feel more comfortable. So I always start off with the easy, hey, so how's your day going? Or do you have any, plans for the weekend? And I feel like those icebreakers, especially if you're new and you don't really know what you're doing, and you're nervous because of this, and you feel like the client might get mad at you because you're like messing up or taking a long time. I feel like these are nice ways to kind of like make the job easier and get you guys both through it, and it builds your confidence too. When you feel confident and you're having a good conversation with somebody, you're less nervous and less likely to make more mistakes. However, the same way that I have got the whole, oh no, I'm gonna wait for one of the guys because I don't want a girl to cut my hair. I've never got a haircut by a girl. Sorry, like, no offense. Like, that's okay. I don't take offense to it anymore. But also, I've heard the opposite, where guys are like, no, I'm just gonna wait for one of the girls because they're more gentle and they're more attentive and they check detail more intensely. There's just this big misunderstanding amongst a lot of people, and they are generalizing genders in the barbershop, and it's like, how can you say something about a person's skill being tied to their gender? Like, if a person, regardless of gender, studied barbering really well, takes their job seriously, and they go out of their way to learn more things, wouldn't you rather go to that barber than the barber who, I don't know, doesn't clean their equipment well, is not punctual on their appointments, doesn't keep up with the best tools or new ways of cutting hair, the different techniques? Like, let's keep gender out of the equation and focus more on the actual job, guys. Okay, so back to the haircut. See how I just hit it with the trimmer? I'm gonna hit it with the shaver and look at the difference of that line. Whoa, right? Okay, so when I first started cutting hair, I didn't even have a shaver. So the first 4 years of my barbering life, I only use the trimmer and no shaver. Look at the difference. You need this. It is transformative for your career. As good as the foil shaver is, you also have to make sure that you always check the foil is not broken or torn in any way, because then it becomes sharp and you can really hurt your clients. Always check them, because you don't want to find out after using it and then tearing somebody's skin and seeing a blood mark. So always be careful. Okay, here goes the fun bang part. So this is the very first time I'm touching the bangs, and I am scissor trimming all that I can grab with my fingers. I have thin fingers, so I'm sure I'm cutting more than most people maybe. After cutting horizontally, I'm going back and cutting vertically to make sure that I get all the gaps and everything is nice and straight. Whenever I do a scissor cut, I prefer the hair to be wet. Then I go ahead and dry it, because I'm going to use clipper over comb, and the clipper does not work well with wet hair, so I gotta make sure it's nice and dry. And now I am angling my comb from the short number 3 to the long hair in the front, and that is how we are connecting the 3 to the bangs. The bangs. So the way that we came up with this haircut for him was during the consultation that I had with his mom. So she said that she wanted it short on top to where it was very low maintenance, but she would like the front to be longer. And so I asked if she would want all the hair to be combable, and she said no, mostly just the front. So I suggested a number 3, because a number 4 I would say is still long enough to be able to be gelled back, and a number 3 is short enough to where it won't comb left or right. It just kind of sits on top of the head. And I explained that to her, and she said that that would be fine. He also gets a lineup in the front, so I went ahead and gelled back the bangs, making sure not to get any gel on the little baby hairs that I'm going to go over with the clippers, because then the hair becomes clumpy and tacky, and it just makes my job really hard. I also had the option to clip the hair back with the little butterfly clip, but sometimes when you do that, you clip it on so hard that it makes the skin stretch on the forehead. So when you go to do the lineup and you're finished and you let go of the clip, you realize that your line is distorted because the skin was pulled back. So to avoid that, I just go ahead and gel it. If you find that you're not ready to do the taper, you can always do the same haircut, but just do the half all the way down, and on the edges you can either leave them natural or you can like square them off. Because I remember when I first started, I was like, nope, just give me the easy haircuts, because I don't want to break my head trying to do all this complicated stuff. And if you're a down as vato or a down as hyena and you're down to use a straight razor, I would definitely recommend this Black Widow razor. I love that it secures the blade very well, and I personally like how the blade sticks out and I can see it. Some people are afraid of that, but I like to see where my blade is. But honestly, whatever you can find at the beauty salon or the barber supply store, as long as it's a butterfly razor that has a lock on it, those are like my for sure must have, need to do for a straight razor. Whenever I am shaving straight lines, whether it's a beard or a lineup, I love to use a clear shaving gel. I know a lot of people use like shaving soaps or shaving creams, but I personally like to see where I am cutting and make the line super precise. I just find it annoying having to swipe away the soap or the cream. Anyway, he is one of my regulars now. So this is the final look. Let me know if you guys liked it. Let me know what you guys enjoyed most about this tutorial. and I'll have more videos for you guys very soon. Bye!